I witnessed eyes rolled in the back of the head. I've seen eyes turn completely black, where there's just nothing there but like total darkness, foaming at the mouth.
Alright, welcome back to a short video. I wish it was another investigation, but I gotta get out there and investigate a place, but again, life is busy, so I'm pushing out these shorter videos just because it is interesting to me and I want to provide you guys with more content, and I like editing. I think it's fun putting together an entertaining video, but most importantly, I just find these topics fascinating, and today we are going to be talking about one of those topics. This is a topic that I will bring up probably at every dinner party, at every gathering. I like to talk to people about this. And what are we talking about today? Exorcisms. So, what is an exorcism? You've probably heard it before, but today I'm going to talk about just what exorcisms are at a broad lens, and then go into actual documented famous cases of exorcisms. Now, before I get any further, I just want to say I am not an expert. So, if you are part of a religion or a culture I'm talking about, and you know more about exorcisms pertaining to that religion or that culture, please comment below because I love to hear from the people themselves. But again, this is not an in-depth video on different cultures and religions and how they view exorcism, so I'm leaving a ton out. It's kind of just like a, hey, surface level, this is what it is, this is what it may look like differently in different religions and cultures. And then we're going to talk about actual exorcisms, and there's some audio recordings that I have. So, what is an exorcism? Exorcisms are an ancient spiritual or religious practice where a prayer or ritual is done in order to expel evil presences, such as demonic entities or dark energy, depending on one's culture. So when you talk about an exorcism, I would say most people kind of think of the classic Christianity view of exorcisms and like that kind of process. But like I said earlier, there are different forms of exorcisms depending on one's culture and one's religion. So in Christianity, an exorcist is done by a priest. The exorcist says prayers that call upon the Holy Trinity to cast out the demon in an individual. Holy water is often used as well. So I'm not going to dive into what an actual exorcism looks like in Christianity, but the kind of classic view is that a trained priest in exorcisms say a bunch of prayers to pull out the demon in an individual and cast them away. In Buddhism, verses from their holy book, the Tripitaka, are recited in order to cast the demon or demonic entity or energy, whatever you want to call it, out of the individual. Many cultures and religions rely on their holy book and the scriptures within them to cast out the demons, but some cultures use other techniques as well. So for example, in Judaism, a rabbi and a group of about 10 men called the minyan gather around the person who is possessed. The rabbi recites Psalm 91 3 times and then blows a ram's horn. The horn is blown in a strategic way with the belief that the sound waves will shatter the body so that the entity can be exposed and the rabbi can speak directly to the entity. So that's kind of like a very, very, very tip of the iceberg of exorcisms. Obviously, there are many religions and many cultures. I plan on one day doing a video about those, but as of now, I just want to introduce exorcisms and talk about the documented cases surrounding them. Let's get started to the freaky stuff. I don't know why I'm filming this at night because I'm gonna have a nightmare. We're gonna start with probably the most famous case. So we're starting with a case that actually inspired the novel and the movie, The Exorcist. In 1949, a 14-year-old boy named Robbie was living in Maryland. His Aunt Harriet was very much into the paranormal and even introduced Robbie to the Ouija board. After his aunt died, strange happenings started around the house, like strange noises and objects levitating when Robbie was around. Robbie began experiencing symptoms of possession, and an exorcism was held in his Maryland home. The story goes that during one of the exorcisms, he slipped out of the restraint, ripped off a head spring underneath the bed, and slashed the priest's arm with the made weapon. This ended the exorcism. In the coming days, Robbie would have marks on his body that kind of came out of nowhere. There is no explanation for these. In fact, his mom noticed a scratch mark on his ribcage that said Lewis. The mom was actually from St. Louis, and so she kind of took this as a sign to go there and seek answers. So when they were there, they stayed with a family friend, and the family friend contacted the bishop from their college. This bishop contacted a priest, and they both performed exorcisms on Robbie. Allegedly, during the exorcisms, a shaking bed, flying objects, and the boy speaking in a guttural voice and exhibiting an aversion to anything sacred occurred. There's some controversy to this case. Some people believe it wasn't a thing and that he was just being a kid. And then the other people, they do believe that this was a case. I don't know the full details of this story. I just know the details at a broad lens. So if you know more, please comment below, because I'd be curious to hear your reasoning behind why you think it's a case, or why you think it was just a kid being a kid. Another famous story is the exorcism of Annalise Michael. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is a movie, was inspired by this case. Now, this case is kind of dark, so just be warned, but when Annalise was 16, she was diagnosed with having experienced a psychosis episode after having a seizure. Later on, when she was 20, she was diagnosed with depression and experienced suicidal ideality and was sent to a hospital to be treated. Despite being treated with medications and therapy, her mental state didn't improve. In fact, she became increasingly intolerant when shown religious items and began hearing voices. When she was in the hospital, a priest visited her, and this is his direct quote. Annalise told me that she was unable to enter the shrine. She approached it with the greatest hesitation, then said that the soil burned like fire and she simply could not stand it. She then walked around the shrine in a wide arc and tried to approach it from the back. She looked at the people who were kneeling in the area surrounding the little garden, and it seemed to her that while praying, they were gnashing their teeth. She got as far as the edge of the little garden, then she had to turn back. Coming from the front again, she had to avert her glance from the picture of Christ in the chapel of the house. She made it several times to the garden but could not get past it. She also noted that she could no longer look at medals or pictures of saints. They sparkled so immensely that she could not stand it. So obviously, this quote is talking about when Annalise was in the psychiatric hospital and was trying to go to a chapel. But based on what Father Ernst said, she claimed that she couldn't because of X, Y, and Z. Her parents stopped seeking medical advice and turned to their local church. In 1975, Annalise went through 67 exorcisms and actually ended up dying from malnutrition. I have an audio clip of the exorcism. The person that edited this video, the audio tapes, which link is in description if you want to watch the full thing, they added English subtitles because it isn't in English. I believe it's in maybe Latin, but just be warned, if you get creeped out pretty easily, or if this is nighttime, maybe skip this part. I don't know. Viewer discretion is advised, but do what you want with that.
Nein, ich sag's nicht. Weil er eine starke... Halsmaul! Ja!
Weil er eine starke Waffe ist.
Ja.
Gegen Satan
Ja.
und alle Dämonen.
Ja, gegen uns.
That is just so disturbing. I have a hard time listening to it. Like, it makes my skin crawl. There's something about hearing an actual possession, if you believe it is, which I do, is just spine chilling. Like, I can't put words to it. It's just very creepy. It's very scary. Definitely don't want to mess with it. It's very just gross. I'll just say that. And it makes me just feel really weird, makes me just want to take a shower and watch SpongeBob, so I'm not scared anymore, but So I wanted to show you that. So if you feel the same way, I'm sorry, but this stuff exists. So let me know your thoughts on exorcisms. Are there any documented cases that fascinate you? Obviously, there's a handful of real exorcisms, but people can say that it's fake or that it's fabricated, so I didn't cover too much. I just wanted to show you just a few famous ones and actual audio from some. It's so creepy. I think this topic is so interesting. Personally, I believe that possession and exorcisms are real. Of course, some people can fake it, but the reason why I believe it is because tales of being possessed and like exorcisms happen across cultures. Like, it's not just like one culture, like it's across many, and they all have their own practices. So I'm like, there's probably something to it. That's why we always take precaution when we're ghost hunting. Not everything we speak to is a demon, but you just truly never know. So if you're ghost hunting, take that as you will. I don't know if you believe in demons or if you believe in possession or exorcisms, but I'm just saying that if you are like me and believe they're real, just take a little bit precaution when you're ghost hunting. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, check out our previous investigation at Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Pretty insane communication we got towards the end of the video. Definitely worth the watch if you are into ghost stuff. If not, no worries. Thanks for watching, and I will see you with the next investigation.